Leo's insights are presented to challenge, inform, and encourage you in your quest to break free from school-based approaches to education. Building upon a foundation of unschooling, we sincerely hope these insights help you to consider how education can be truly unlimited.
Throughout this series, I have consistently defined freedom as having both choice and control. I stated that the more freedom, the less fear one has, which in turn means having a greater sense of peace. I also mentioned that being ignorant of the truth is what often leads to fear and loss of freedom. So there's a simple formula that we can use here. Not knowing the truth leads to fear, which leads to being insecure or lacking peace. Or, if you will, misinformation equals fear, and fear equals insecurity. On the other hand, the more informed of truth one is, the less fearful and consequently the more secure and peaceful one is. Or that formula is simply truthful information equals less fear and more peace. However, this is not the complete story. There is something else that needs to be considered regarding freedom. Have you ever considered that one can be free yet still be in bondage? How, you may ask? To answer that question, we must separate man into the three components of body, soul, and spirit. Body bondage is easy to understand. Being incarcerated in jail or tied up would be a good example of body bondage. Up until now, the freedom I have been discussing is the freedom of the soul. That is, having choice and control. That is what most people refer to when talking about freedom. Needless to say, when the body is not free, the soul is usually not either. Today, I want to talk about a different kind of freedom. When you hear of people who are set free while still in prison, it must mean something other than the standard understanding of freedom. If the body and consequently the soul is still in bondage, then something else has to be at play, which has to be the spirit of man. Man's spirit, like the body and soul, is either free or it is not, which would mean it is in bondage. To be truly free, therefore, requires us to be free in body, that is, not tied up or in jail, free in soul, meaning having true choice and true control, and free in spirit. To be free in spirit requires an outside agency bigger than ourselves, and that outside agency is God. Now, there's no doubt a number of offerings for how this can be accomplished, but I'm most familiar with the Christian version of how this type of freedom takes place. Please allow me to share my limited understanding of this issue. When God created man, he created him entirely free, without knowing bondage. Even though Adam was free to roam, free to choose, and his decision to disobey God caused his spirit to fall into bondage and become captive to an opposing force of evil. Unfortunately, this bondage has become part of the world we are born in. While I still believe we are all born innocent and completely free, I also believe we have the ability to reject God, who just happens to be the God of freedom. When doing so, we default to following the small g God of spiritual bondage. There was no way out of this situation until God himself descended as a man to win back the freedom that was lost in the garden. When Jesus's purpose for redemption of man is acknowledged, our spirit is set free from its eternal bondage. I know it sounds crazy, but while the body and soul may indeed be free, we are still in bondage spiritually until something bigger than ourselves sets us free. In fact, the Bible says that when the Son of Man sets us free, we are free indeed. That means completely, totally free. Even those who are incarcerated or denied choice and control can experience this form of freedom. I highly recommend being totally free, not only in body and soul, but in spirit also. This is the best way to experience less fear and to truly be at peace.
We trust you were blessed by today's presentation. For more helpful information to guide you in your home education journey, please visit educationunlimited.ca and leogaumont.com. Be sure to like us and share us on Facebook.